Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Gabriela Eisenhart, and this is my home in Atlanta. Why don't you join me?
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hi, I'm Gabriela Eisenhart. I'm an interior designer, and we are in my home in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I grew up very close to where this home is now, in Midtown Atlanta. And my husband and I have two sons, and we were looking for our next home, and we were looking for well over a year. We were having a hard time finding the right spot. I was entertaining possibly building a home. I just wasn't finding something that clicked for me. And I really wanted something special, something a little bit older with character and something that I could renovate and make my own. And I was starting to lose faith. We weren't finding something, and it just so happened my husband and boys were out of town for the weekend, and I came across this home, and something felt really magical about it in the listing. So I called up a realtor friend and said, hey, can you get us in this house in a couple hours? Sure enough, we did. It was just like really quick. It was a gut feeling. And I knew that this house was our forever home. It just felt so special. It was, it needed a lot of work, but I was up for the challenge. The home was built in 1981, and everything was pretty much original. I could tell that there were a few upgrades, but the floor was original, the kitchen was original. I mean, even the appliances were from 1981. So, and the bathrooms were original. So when we came in, I knew first things first is we had to gut the kitchen. I opened up some walls and created some archways. We kept the original flooring, but we refinished it. There was so much of the architecture of the home that I wanted to keep true to its form. So as we go through, you're gonna see a lot of the original fireplaces, the high ceilings, the archways. All right, so here we are in the entry. As you can see, this entry flows into the formal living room. I actually call it the atrium because the ceilings are so high. And honestly, a lot of what you see is original to the home, which is so special. I did redo the floors. We, for now, have kept the stairwell original, and it kind of gives you, it feels very 80s. It's fun. When I walked in the house for the first time, though, it was black. So we have painted that, and I wanted it to blend in the background. But over here in the entry, this is just a drop zone that we use for storage. And I have it styled. I love to collect vintage pieces and art. So I have it styled with a few of my favorite pieces, one of which was done by my grandmother, who was an artist. And it's one of her very first pieces that I'm lucky enough to have. And then this is a friend of mine here. I don't know how he is still alive. I planted him in this brass planter years ago. There is no drainage, and he is thriving. So we don't touch him. I love how sculptural it's become. It's really a little bit wild and pretty. I love it, but I also am a big fan of collecting vintage brass. So we'll see that as we go throughout the home. Over here, I have this family piano that was passed down from a family friend, and the piano is from the early 1900s. It's very old. It still works, but I decided it's a lot to restore a piano, so I decided to keep the natural darker wood tone, and I really love how it warms up the space and adds that layer of dimension, even though we have a lot of lighter, blonder woods in the space. This mirror is so funny. It has a great story to it. It's followed me and my husband through all of our homes. Before I was even in interior design, we were buying our first furniture at I don't even remember where, but they were like, if you buy this couch, we'll throw in this mirror. So, and it has a crack, and I was like, great. And it's very heavy. It's supposed to be a floor mirror, but we have had it wired to be hung on the wall. And I feel like it's just a great, fun moment. It makes the space feel even bigger than it is. Moving in, this is our formal living space, and I love how high the ceilings are. It's really a special feature to the home. What I really fell in love with was this fireplace, which is original to the home. It's just so special, and I haven't touched it. I did keep it original. I did redo the hearth and change the stone. Originally there was slate there, and it just felt a little bit too jarring, so I put in a more of organic natural limestone. And I wanted to keep this space very simple. We have a sisal rug that is very organic. I love the way it feels on your feet. And it just adds a little bit of monochromatic warmth. And then these chairs are beautiful. I just felt that, again, they were sculptural. I love sculptural objects. As you see, we have the wooden balls and the curved sofa behind us. And this vintage table is something that's been with me for many years. I actually didn't think it was gonna make the cut for this home, but when I was standing up on the balcony looking down at it, I was like, this is it. It's beautiful, I love it. So the art I had commissioned by a good friend and young artist here in Atlanta. And again, I lean towards a lot of neutrals, but I wanted to bring in green and a touch of black, and she incorporated that so well in this piece. It's such a nice yet calm pop for the space. So a lot of times in a double-story space, you drop pendants down to bring the eye level down and make it feel a little bit more humble and make the space feel smaller. And that's something I didn't want to do in this space. I think the ceilings are so grand, and I wanted it to feel spacious and airy. But I did bring in the two Capiz shell globe pendants at the top. They felt classic, they felt a bit Mediterranean, and they offer such a really nice, beautiful glow. It almost feels like the moon when you're looking up at night. And for this wall, I just added a bench that is an unfinished wood. I like the warmth that it added. This sculpture here was one of my grandmother's pieces. She did a lot of bronze sculptures. So I love showcasing this here. I think it has its own moment. And I collect a lot of vintage brass, like I've mentioned, and they become planters for me. So this guy is doing really well over here. And this is a great space for us to check ourselves before we leave for the end of the day, and that's what we use it for. So now we're gonna go to the heart of the home, my prized possession. This was a complete gut, and I'm very proud of this kitchen to this day. Let's do it. Here we are in the heart of the home, the kitchen. This project is very near and dear to my heart even today. This was a complete gut out of the home. The kitchen was original to the home, which was built in the early 80s, and it wasn't functional at all. The appliances were from the early 80s as well. So I knew when we got the home, we had to hustle, gut it, and I had to really move fast with design decisions. So I'm grateful that I'm still happy with all of those decisions, because I remember having to make them like really, really quick. But some details about the kitchen that I love. I really wanted it to have a slight Mediterranean flair with a classic touch with a little bit of edge. And I'm gonna talk you through my thought process on everything. So the back center of the kitchen used to be a stained glass window, and I knew right away we needed to anchor the kitchen back there. So we got rid of the window, and for some reason, when we were about to close on the house, I was eating at a restaurant in Atlanta, and there's this really beautiful tiled pizza oven that was there that was rounded, and I was like, gosh, this would make the coolest hood. And so here we are. I love this hood. Again, this kitchen is kind of like a train station. It's long and rectangular. So I wanted to add the curvature that you see throughout the architecture of the home. So we have the curved hood, we have the oval island. So we're just adding the soft lines throughout the kitchen. This cabinetry is custom, and I wanted to do a soft white oak. I wanted it to feel very clean. I wanted it to feel modern, but also still classic. So I brought in the oil rubbed bronze hardware with, again, the curved lines, which I really love. Couple features of this kitchen. There's not a lot of storage. It's an older home. My pantries are what you see. I don't have a hidden walk-in pantry, but I love my appliance garages. I'm a huge fan, so I'll just show them. We have everything hidden so we can keep all of our appliances away, which is huge because I don't like clutter. The countertop is something that I think is fun for here. Typically, in my career, I wouldn't gravitate towards a black countertop, but I knew that this kitchen needed that funk. And I was dead set on a soapstone, but during the time of construction, soapstone, the prices were very high, and it also just wasn't going to be a durable choice for every day for me and the family. So I went with this quartz that surprisingly really gives that same natural stone feel of soapstones. I'm really happy with that. The flooring is something that I wanted to have fun with. Originally in here there was a black slate tile, which I did keep in the powder room, we'll see later, but it was a little bit too much of a contrast for the kitchen. And I wanted to bring in a pattern. I wanted to have fun with it. And I didn't want to do a cement tile because they're just porous and they're hard to keep up. So I found this Italian porcelain tile that's been really great, and it's really fun. It really gives such personality to the kitchen. Over here we have the island, which again I wanted to do an oval island. I wanted to have the reading detail just to add another element of texture to the space. And over here on the left hand side, these were French doors. They were actually exterior French doors, very bizarre. So I knew those had to come out right away, and I wanted to mimic, we created the arch to mimic these two original archways in the front of the kitchen. And then also, this is the other side of the fireplace. We just took off the mantle so that it felt more clean. And this really, this is our every night dinner spot. We gather as a family. When we throw parties, this becomes a huge charcuterie board. So it's become a great multi-purpose functional space for us over here. Other details about the island, I hid in our wine fridge in here, and then we also have pop open hidden storage as well, which is nice. So it's not dead space. The lighting is something I'm very proud of in this kitchen. I wanted to have fun with it. So these I call them my flying saucers, and these are my nod to the 80s. They feel funky, fun, and there's that shiny gold finish to them that reminds you so much of that time period. And then I wanted to humble it a bit. We have these round sconces that are really just task lighting. I love how those turned out. And then of course I needed to humble everything with this organic sconce. And I love the wicker and the brass, and I feel like it's such a beautiful marriage of materials. And my touchless faucet, these are my favorite. When you have dirty hands, you can just do all the things. So I put them in all my clients' homes. As we go throughout the kitchen, you'll notice there's a lot of honed or matte finishes. We have the matte cabinets and we have the honed stone. So I needed to bring in something to attract the light and to help balance. So I brought in this ceramic tile that I love so much because it's beautiful. It's not a Zalige tile, but it feels like it because it gives you that natural variation of color throughout the tile. And we did it all the way to the ceiling. Obviously we did the hood and we wrapped it all the way around, and it just reflects the light so beautifully and balances out all of the flatter finishes throughout the kitchen. My personal style is whatever makes me calm. Whatever makes me calm makes me thrive. So if we needed to put it in words, I would say I'm a bit of a minimalist in a very maximalist way. But I do like very calm, serene environments, very organic, very natural. I use a lot of natural textures, monochromatic styles, and this home was perfect for that. What I love so much about this kitchen is it also flows seamlessly into the dining room. Here we are in the dining room, and I really love this room. It's special because you can see it from the entry, which is lovely, and you can see it from the kitchen, and you can also see it from the family room. This room, the shape is interesting. It's almost a square with these angled walls and these beautiful archways. So I knew that I wanted to either do a round or a square table. And this table was meant to be, I had ordered this round table thinking it was the right fit, but it got damaged in transit, and I was antiquing one weekend and found this 1970s travertine Italian table. It's very special. It's stunning. The coloring for the room is perfect. And when designing this room, I really wanted it to feel layered but monochromatic and tonal and really calm. And I feel like that's exactly how it feels. It's lovely to dine in here. One of the first pieces I picked out for this dining room was this light. I loved how soft it was. I loved the color of it, and it lets off the most beautiful patterns and shadows on the ceiling. When I found these chairs, I fell in love with them because they're so sculptural from the back. And then they're upholstered in the front with this beautiful, almost blush tone woven fabric that has a lot of elements of earth tones in it too, that feels so calming and nice with the space. I knew that this was a great moment for a tree. So this tree lives here and he does really, really well. And I love the feel that, like, maybe you're inside, maybe you're outside, who knows? Over here, the art in here actually has a lot of meaning to me, and I have stories with both of them. This piece I brought back from Italy a couple years ago, where my family is from. We were touring a castle in Ischia. So I fell in love with this piece, and I fell in love with this artist. I loved how he worked with texture, but also everything was very tonal and calming. And so it's funny, I left the castle that day and I took pictures of all the art, and I took pictures of his name, and I put it out in the universe going, I need a piece of his art. And the next night we were walking around after dinner. I had a little bit of a wine high, and I spotted his work in a gallery, and I was like, no way, this can't be the same artist that I saw in the castle. So I went in and I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to afford whatever this painting cost. Sure enough, it was within the budget. I bought it within 5 minutes, and I had it shipped back here. So this frame was custom made, and I love how it could kind of stand alone. It's really special. It's really a statement on the wall. There's this 3D element. This is a very, very heavy frame, and I knew that this piece needed something designed for it. Then over here, I wanted, again, to soften the space. So we used this tonal drape hardware that I was surprised they made, because it matches perfectly with the chandelier. And we brought in these textured woven Romans that really mimic the chair fabric so lovely. And it's nice because we're very close to our neighbors, but this allows us to filter the sun in, but also filter out what's going on in their driveway. Another thing I wanted to add to the room is I'm a big fan of drapery. I'm a big fan of layered window treatments, and so we added in this fun Kelly Wearstler fabric. Typically I opt for a more simple linen shade with no pattern, but we decided to have a little fun here, and I'm very happy with the decision and the outcome. Over here is a family piece from my husband's side of the family. This is a Stephen Etner painting. He was very popular in the mid-century, and I just love it. I've loved this piece since it was handed down to us. We've had it for probably 15 years now, and it's just really calming for me. This lamp is wonderful. It was designed by a friend, Erica Marie, and she does beautiful pieces, and I love the mixture of the materials, the beautiful marble with the wicker shade. So this bar cart is a special piece that I found a year or two ago, and I didn't really know what was going to go in this corner. I had tried a cabinet, but it just was feeling too heavy. So this is the perfect piece that easily flows around the house as needed. It can act as a buffet, it can act as a bar cart. Again, I am an avid collector of brass, and I love collecting old brass candlesticks that I've kind of let live down there, and we pull them out when needed or wanted. Another element to the home that I kept that was original were these pocket doors, and I just love these. They're great. We don't always keep them shut, but it is nice to have that extra element if we wanted to shut them during a dinner party and shut off the family room. So I'm glad that I kept them. And now we're here in the family room where all the action happens. This room didn't have many crazy renovations other than flooring and paint, but it really encompasses everything we need for large gatherings, holidays, just watching TV on the weekends with the kids. It's great, and I can accommodate larger furniture, which we need, as I'm now the shortest person in my family, so we need space for the kids and everyone to cuddle up on the sofa. This room is an addition to the home. The home was built in the early 80s, and I believe the previous owners built this on in the early 90s, which I think was such a great addition to the home. Over here, we have this, I call it the merry-go-round because my children literally use it as a merry-go-round, but it's a comfy chair. I love the rounded back. I love, again, green is one of my go-to colors. Huge fan of the frame TVs. We have them all throughout the house. Most people go, wow, I love this art. What is it? They don't even know it's a TV. So that's always fun. Some other elements to this room that I love is these are vintage parquet tables that I've had for a long time now, and they've traveled with me and they've landed here, and I just love them. They add such a warmth to the space. I love vintage lamps, and I love vintage brass lamps, which is what we have in this room. This one's actually very special. This is a Tudor wallpaper roller, and my husband's family had a wallpaper company for 100 years, so this was one of their Tudor wallpaper rollers, and they turned it into a lamp. And when I got my eyes on it, I said, this is mine, and I'm not letting go of it. So we've had this for a long time, and I just love this piece. It's so conversational. People always ask about it. People are not sure what it is. It's really special. I love it. This room's right off the kitchen, and my style, as you've noticed, is very calm, but it also needed a little bit of edge to it, and I needed to bring in all of the black that I have in the kitchen so that it flowed seamlessly. And I saw this rug when I was at High Point last year, and I fell in love with it. It was like hanging up, and I was like, this is great. It's has this beautiful tonal color with the black lines, and I just loved it. It's wool, which is really, really great. I'm a fan of wool rugs because we can clean them and they last, and I can pass them down, you know, to my children one day. They're going to stand the test of time. Moving back here, we kind of have this empty space that I knew I needed to address, and it's nice because oftentimes someone will come back here and read or even watch TV back here. If we're having a big party, we can move the chairs around. Drapery was a big one in this room, and I knew I wanted it to feel very organic, very minimal. So we did these linen shades that are linen drapes that I absolutely love, that just billow and flow, and they're operable. So sometimes they're open, sometimes they're closed, as you see now, and they are always filtering the most beautiful, magical light in. So this is the powder room, and I would say I gave this powder room a bit of a facelift. It wasn't a full gut, and I'll talk a little bit about what's original and what's not. It was really just a white box room when we got the home. I did want to keep the original slate floors somewhere because I do love slate, so these are original. And I'm a huge fan of wallpaper, and this home, because it has such a flowing Mediterranean feel, and I knew it was going to be more of an airy white space, there wasn't too much opportunity for accents of wallpaper. So I had this go big or go home approach where I incorporated wallpaper, which is demonstrated in here. People come in and go, oh boy, is this tile? But it's actually a Schumacher print, which I fell in love with. I typically don't go for these more geometric prints, but I love this. I was like, it feels Moroccan, it feels a little bit Mediterranean. It's just such a fun pop, and you can see it from the entry in the living room. And I wanted to just really make it bold. So we did the ceiling. We brought in shelves. Again, this is a piece of art I collected. I love her. I should name her. I love to see her every day. I brought in these raw brass fixtures, and I felt like the arched mirror was perfect because it mimics all of the archways. I brought in the brushed brass, and I kept the original pedestal sink. A fun surprise to this bathroom is that it leads into the laundry room. So I added this pocket door to shut off the laundry room when we wanted. And I thought, why not keep the party going? So we continued the wallpaper into the laundry room. I did the ceiling as well. And it's a small, tight space, but it works. I spend a little bit too much time in here, but it's great, and it's fun, you know. It's a topic of conversation that I have this tiny little laundry room off our powder room. I did the front loaders here. I installed the quartz countertop so that we have some folding space, and it really is what you see over here. I added another woven Roman in black over here. And then I wanted to talk about these because I found these a couple months ago, and they're so special to me. They're old doors, probably from a piece of furniture. And I was on a vintage hunt in South Georgia where you can actually find a lot of really cool stuff. And I found these and I fell in love with them. And in the antique store, they were hanging on the wall as art, but I am going to repurpose them and make a vanity for this bathroom. So Homeworthy Take 2, come back in a year and we'll have these as a vanity. What I love most about my home, it's magical. And I know I'm not trying to sound cheesy, but I do walk around this house and it just casts the most beautiful shadows, and there's beautiful lighting, and it really does feel magical. I feel very lucky every day to live here. It's always inspiring me, this home. I also love that it's unassuming. From the outside, it feels like a traditional Tudor, and then you come in and you're like, ooh, what happened here? This is a major plot twist. Like, is it 1985? Are we on the West Coast? So I love that element of surprise in the space. I worked a lot on the West Coast for a lot of my career, and I was very inspired with architecture out there and how you really had that indoor-outdoor living situation. And that doesn't work as well here in Georgia, but I did want to create that feeling. I like to bring in a lot of large-scale trees in my homes, plants, again, layering woods, layering natural stones, but also bringing in a little bit of edge, just bringing a little bit of the unexpected. I have a very lovely, beautiful, but hectic life. My boys are budding teenagers. They're budding musicians too. And as peaceful as this house feels, it's very loud. So it's a good balance to have the serene environment, because if you're here during prime time, it's chaotic. So now you've seen the heart of the home where all the action happens. Let me take you upstairs where we get refreshed. So we're here at the landing on the top floor. This is actually original to the home, and I do plan to redo this eventually, but for right now, it's worked out well. I love to collect books and vintage items. Another one of my grandmother's bronze sculptures. So it's been a great place to really just showcase different pieces that I've collected over the time that mean something to me. One of my favorite features about this landing is what I call the laundry chute. I've always wanted a laundry chute in my home, and literally this is it. We just shoot the laundry right over the balcony. It's been very convenient. Here we are in the primary suite, one of my favorite spaces of the house. It really is where I come and retreat and get away from the hustle of life. And I wanted to continue that theme For me, in order to relax and really unwind, I need a very soft, clean, almost spa-like environment. And that was the thought when creating this space. I wanted to have very neutral tones, but also a lot of richness with the texture of the space. I'm often in here shutting the door because this house is very, very loud with the high ceilings, and it's the only place where there's a little bit of quiet. What I love most about this room is we also have this sitting area, which is really, really nice. So I'm not a huge fan of having a TV in the room, but because we had this separate space, we put a TV here, and it's a nice place to watch movies. Sometimes I watch movies with the boys. Sometimes just me and my husband are in here relaxing. And I just wanted to feel like a cozy space. This piece here is special. It's a mid-century dresser that I had refinished that's been with my husband since college. It's the one piece of his that we've kept in the family. I love it, and I love that it's made it to all our homes because it's really just unique, and it's such a good piece of furniture. They don't make it like this anymore. In here, I again wanted that organic feel, so I picked this woven burlap fixture that again adds the most beautiful shadow on the ceilings. I loved this calming velvet sage green sofa that's very deep. It's a deep cedar, so it's a great place to nap and relax. And this fun shag ottoman. I mean, this thing is so comfy. You could just snuggle up on it. It ends up being my laundry folding table, but you know, it's also a great place to put your feet up. So moving into the main space of the bedroom, I fell in love with this wallpaper. This is a hand-painted wallpaper by artist Portotello, which they did a line with Schumacher. And when I saw this paper, I knew it was coming into this home. And it really, it created the theme for this bedroom. I love, it's just so calming to me, yet it's interesting and different. So over here, I had wanted to layer, again, that boucle texture. We have an upholstered bed that is more modern and simplified. And then I balanced it with these older, more of a walnut toned nightstand, because as you see, there's a lot of natural wood in here, and I'll talk about that in a second. This fireplace is original to the home. As you see, you've seen the one downstairs in the kitchen and in the living room, and it comes all the way up here to the bedroom. I've kept this original. I have redone the hearth in this beautiful limestone, which continues into the bathroom, which we'll see. A huge fan of spheres. I love a sculptural ball, so this is something I've collected. It just sits here, it lives here. Love how it feels. Doesn't have much purpose, but it makes me happy. This over here is another one of my grandmother's lithographs that I love so very much, and I love to look at it every day. It's simple, it's calming, and it's perfect. So when we moved into this home, this whole side of the room was with these floor-to-ceiling built-ins that weren't for me. That's a nice way to put it. So we took them out right away, and I had these built. I wanted to have sort of just another bookcase that felt more like an art installation. As you can see, like we designed it to have the spacing be different, and I love how it feels. It feels organic, and I can showcase pieces that I love. Again, another one of my grandmother's sculptures here, and just books and plants and natural, really cool organic vases that I found recently. And this is another piece that I just lay in bed at night and just, it helps relax me. This is another special piece that I had built for the space. We needed a wardrobe. We needed a little bit more storage. Our closets walk in, but it's not, I have a lot of stuff. And so this has become my husband's wardrobe. And I wanted to have some organic texture. I wanted to break up all the wood, but this is such a functional piece. I added the unlacquered brass hardware, and it's just such a great piece. It feels, even though it's huge, it kind of fades away in the space in a good way. This was a monster to get upstairs. They literally could not fit it up the staircase. So I watched 4 men hoist it up over the balcony. I was scared someone was going to die that day, but it's up here and it's staying with the house. It's never going to move. Now we're going to transition in to the primary bathroom, which is something I just completed a couple months ago. So it's fresh and it's very special to me. And I wanted it to kind of feel like you're in a hotel. So you're transitioning from the bedroom where you see this beautiful built-in oak bookshelf, and you're seamlessly coming in where you see the vanity. And the vanity is also same wood, except I switched up the style a bit. I went with a reeded detail, and I wanted to bring in more of a classic traditional element, so we went with the shaker style border and with the unlacquered finish as well. And this is a smaller bathroom, but it works perfectly for us. And what I love about this bathroom are the materials that I used. When I was in Italy a couple years ago, I noticed how they used limestone or travertine on the streets. And I was like, this is just stunning how they're using such a beautiful stone in the streets, where here we're using cement, right? But I knew that I wanted to bring in this limestone. So we have this tumbled natural limestone on the floor, which is so beautiful and calming. I would say it's a beautiful, durable stone. It is a little bit on the high maintenance side, but I love the softness that it adds to the bathroom. And I knew I wanted to marry it with a Taj Mahal surround on the tub and then in the countertop. And as you can see, the Taj Mahal quartzite, which actually is a leathered finish, it continues into the shower as a bench. And I just love the visual of seeing the beautiful movement of the quartzite into the shower. And it partners so well with the flooring and the stone. I was dead set on doing an unlacquered brass in this bathroom. All of the plumbing fixtures are watermark, unlacquered brass. I love just the natural patina over time, the natural blemishes. They're right now, I did shine them up just a little bit for this, but they're about 3 months old now, and you can just see how they're starting to wear. They're really, really beautiful. I added a makeup mirror that I love, also unlacquered brass. This is wonderful. You see these in hotels all the time, and I knew when I was going to redo my bathroom that I needed this. I needed that magnifying mirror. I paired the shower with this ceramic tile that has the most beautiful cream and blush tones to it. Again, it's the same tile that you see in the kitchen, just in a different color, and you can see how it has that natural variation. And again, I just wanted it to feel serene and soft. I want you to come in here. I want your eye to travel. I added a cafe curtain, which might have been more of a traditional choice for the home, but I just love how it feels. And it's with the unlacquered brass as well, and a beautiful linen that has the softest blush tone that I feel like complements super nicely with the shower walls. And this art piece here is a family piece that we just inherited, and I had no idea where it was going to go, and it really works so well in here. It's very calming. One thing about the space when I was finished is I was like, it needs just a little bit of grit. It was beautiful, it was soft, but I wanted to bring in another tone of wood. So when I was shopping recently, I found this vintage stool, and I love how weathered it is, and it also mimics the richness and the frame on the art. So I think bringing in that other wood tone really gives the space a bit more of a story, a bit more character. And this rug is a vintage find I've had for years, so I'm happy to have found a home for it and that it works so well in this new bathroom. Home for me is all about the feeling of just somewhere where you can unwind, relax, gather with your closest friends and your family. It's a safe space, and I've been into creating those safe spaces since I was really, really young.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.